Welcome to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo, where we blend rock solid tips with a little bit of magic. I'm Renee Bowen, your host, life and business coach, and professional photographer at your service. We are all about getting creative, diving into your business, and playing with manifestation over here. So, are you ready to get inspired and have some fun? Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to Tried and True with a Dash of Woo. This is your host, Renee Bowen. Hope you guys are doing all right. World's a little crazy out there right now. It's June 11th, 2025. And yes, I am based in the suburbs of Los Angeles. So if you've seen LA on the news in the last few days, you know that we are kind of going through it. And honestly, we've been kind of going through it for a while. If you've been listening to my show for a while, or you follow me, or you know me, or you coach with me, you know that it's been rough for a lot of us, especially those of us in the entertainment industry for a while, with the strikes and, fires early this year. And now these ICE raids and protests and absolutely awful things happening to people here in the city. So this episode today is not about that, but I would be remiss if I didn't say something about it. And I'm not going to go deep into this. What I am going to say is that this is a humanitarian crisis, and that if you are only watching a polarized version of news, you're not getting the whole story. First of all, most of us in LA are fine. It is not what is being reported on some of the stations. A lot of it is peaceful. Yeah, there's always going to be people who take it upon themselves to do stupid shit. But that is not the majority of what is going on right now. So I really just hope you use your critical thinking right now, just in general. Okay, I'm not here to have a political conversation with you or to change your mind, but I do hope that you use your humanity. And this is my platform. Okay, my socials are my platform. My podcast is my platform. I am always talking to you guys about being authentically you, being the most you that you can be. So that's what I'm doing right now. If you don't agree with me, you don't have to. But if you are okay with families being ripped apart, for people who are not criminals, people who have been here for a very long time, who have lives, who pay taxes, if you're okay with that, just as a blanket statement, I implore you to look at your humanity, okay? Because we are here on this planet, in this timeline. I truly believe that we are here for community. We are here to be together. We are here to help each other. And if you're not doing that in some way, and if you're only thinking about yourself and what's good for you, that might work out for a little while. But it definitely is not filling your soul, because if it were, you wouldn't be operating from a place of fear. There's either fear or love. At any given time, you are operating from one of those two things. And I talk about the fear part a lot on this podcast. We talk about that in terms of your unconscious programming, mindset, things like that. And I know that if you have these certain beliefs, that it's because of what you saw growing up, possibly, and also just your past programming, just like any of us. But you have an opportunity to think for yourself. You have an opportunity to look at non-biased news sources. You have the opportunity to lean into your humanity, to your kindness, to your generosity, to your love. And if you are someone who values the teachings of Christ, especially, you have the opportunity to look at what that really, really means, and not just some man's version of it. Everything out there is pretty much laden with propaganda in some way or another. So it's very important for you to use your own critical thinking skills. And it's okay to admit that you thought you were doing something different, and now you see what it really is. It's okay to change your mind. All that to say, if you're struggling right now, just in general, if you are just feeling very beaten down by what you're seeing, what you are consuming online, I would encourage you to take a break, You don't have to be on 24/7. Okay. You can protect your energy if it's really, really, really heavy right now for you, because you're not going to be good for anybody unless you do. If that means getting offline for a bit or being really protective about what you're watching, what you're hearing, I totally get that. And that's okay. You can still create change. You can still help other people without being constantly bombarded with all of the stuff. Do what you can with what you have and go out and do something nice for somebody today. Just anybody. It could be a stranger. That's going to fill you with dopamine. It's going to make you feel good. And it's also going to lift that other person up. And that stuff has a ripple effect, guys. I posted something on my Instagram story yesterday that said it's the Rumi quote. It's as if everything around you seems dark. Look again because you might be the light. And I love that because it's true. Okay. If not you, then who else? Right. Do a little small something that is going to bring some light today. It doesn't seem like it's super impactful, but it is. It can be affected by what's going on right now, meaning you have family members who are being ripped from their lives. I just want you to know that I am so deeply sorry and I don't support that. And although I don't know what I can do, if you need help, please reach out because I am happy to at least help you find a direction for that. Know that my heart is with you. And I truly believe that most of us want to do the right thing. And if you're struggling with doing the right thing, if you're struggling because you're surrounded by people who are not on the same wavelength as you, I know what that feels like. It's hard. Reach out, find your own community, find your own like minded people. You don't need to believe what other people around you believe. Listen to yourself, listen to your higher self, get in tune with your higher self. And if you're having a hard time with any of this, just tune into your heart center. Literally put your hands over your heart and just breathe for a few minutes and think about someone that you love very, very deeply. It'll get you right there. That's sort of what we should be extending to everyone. We're all in this together, okay? With liberty and justice for all, not just for some people, for all. Okay, moving into today's topic for the podcast. It's not going to be a super long one, but I want to address something that a lot of the photographers in particular who follow me have been dealing with. And that is staring at an empty inbox, wondering if your calendar is ever going to fill up again. Low bookings, no leads. So I want you to know that I see you and I hear you. I hear you guys in my DMs. A lot of you guys are really considering closing up shop. Some of you already have. Okay. So this episode is for you if you're tired of hearing, oh, it's just the economy or no one is booking right now. Everybody's going through it. This is for you if you're ready to stop spiraling about that and to start doing something about it. Because listen, I built my photography business in 2008 in a recession with no money and a basic camera, 3 really, really young kids, no backup plan, no resources. So when people say it's impossible to grow in this market, I call BS. And it's not just delusional thinking. Okay, what you need right now isn't more freebies that are going to sit in your downloads and never get used. You don't need TikTok trends. You need a mindset reset and an actual plan that works. So let's get into what I believe those things are. First, let's get something straight. The number one thing that's going to stop you from getting booked is not the economy, it's your energy. I'm not talking about being high vibe 24/7 and pretending that things aren't hard. Hello, I just addressed in the beginning of this episode how things can be really hard. I'm talking about the energy that leaks out when you're panicking, that please book me, that desperation vibe that repels clients faster than a bad website. So if you're sitting there refreshing your email every hour, wondering why nobody's booking or nobody's reaching out to you, I want you to ask yourself this question. What energy am I actually bringing to the table? Okay, because clients aren't just buying photos. They're buying confidence, they're buying certainty, and they're buying the vibe that they want to be around. So take a moment today and breathe. Reclaim your power. because you've got it, but you can't access it when you're in scarcity mode. Instead of saying things like, I need clients, I want you to say things like, the right clients are actively looking for someone like me. And it's my job to help them find me. So let's talk for a second, really quick, about the strategies that actually work right now to get clients, and then we'll get back to the mindset. But strategically speaking, fluff aside, here's what's actually working right now, even in a tight market. And no, it's not just some basic guide I got from ChatGPT that I'm passing on to you, because that stuff doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is because it's not aligned. Your energy is everything, and we'll get back to that in a minute. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is local visibility. Okay, it's highly underrated. Your SEO, your Google business profiles, secret weapons. Okay, most of you are sleeping on these things. So I want you to post to your Google business profile once a week and use keywords that you know you want to rank for. You can upload photos, you can upload video. All of that stuff really matters. And this is something that I see a lot of photographers forget about. It's just, it becomes, something off to the side. But you can really own local traffic and inquiries with consistency. The thing is, though, is that you have to do it often and be consistent. This is something you can automate. The second thing I want to mention is that in person is making a comeback. Okay. Collaborations with local businesses like coffee shops, boutiques, salons, they work. Pop ups, giveaways, styled shoots, anything that is going to get you in front of more of your target clients. This is one of the things that I did in the very beginning of my business, and I continue to do now in just various different ways. But there are other people in your local market who are also looking for your target client. How can you get in front of them and pool your resources? Okay. I want you to walk in. I want you to pitch yourself. Don't be afraid to say things like, hey, I'd love to feature you in a shoot and cross promote. That boldness really does stand out. Okay. People just aren't doing it as much anymore. And so it stands out even more now. If you want something, you have to kind of go get it, guys. And as an introvert, that is not a desirable thing for me. So I get it. Like, I know you don't want to do it, but how bad do you want this business to work? What if one very low lift collaboration with 1 to 2 local businesses could bring you 10 clients in the next 3 months? Would it be a yes for you then? Okay, ask yourself what if. Get curious. It's really easy to soak in the negativity that's going on around us. And again, I'm not talking about being toxically positive all the time. I'm talking about doing what you can with what you have. And if this business is important to you, you need to tell people about it. And when you start doing that, you start empowering other people to talk about you behind your back so that you don't have to do as much of this ongoing. It starts to take on a life of its own if you build it with the right intention and the right messaging. The problem is that a lot of you guys are just sort of like doing what you think works for other photographers, and that's why it's not hitting. Okay, so it's really important to look at your own purpose, your own why, your own target client, and to dig in and do that foundational work, whether it's by yourself or with a coach. Like that is foundational. So if you haven't done that stuff, you need to dig into that. The third thing I want to mention is that video is still a great way to build trust because it's fast. Okay, I know a lot of you guys don't want to be on video. You don't want to be talking on video in particular. I get it. But again, I say, what if this one video could get you in front of a handful of new clients that you book? Would it be worth it then? It's not about becoming famous. It's not about going viral. Okay. Your face, your voice, your process, that's part of what you do. And I've done many shows on this, you guys, just like specifically on this topic about building visibility. I even have a whole 30-day visibility challenge built on this whole idea. Okay. So there are so many resources for you about this. And I know I've talked about this a lot, but there's a reason why I continue talking about it because it works. Reels and TikToks that teach or tell stories convert. Yeah, using a trending audio is helpful, but when your messaging is dialed in and aligned, you don't even need that. When you are in touch with your purpose and your why, you can communicate that over and over and over again to your audience in many different ways because that's literally just what marketing is. It's not about coming up with a new idea every day and just throwing something up against the wall and hoping that it works because you saw your friend in another state do something and their video just happened to hit. Okay, you need to look at your audience and you as a person, you as a brand, and your messaging. How do you want your clients to feel when they experience your brand? Build that into a video. Nobody can do what you do like you do it. You need to own it. You need to be your biggest cheerleader. I know it's hard. I know it's not what you want to do. Okay. But it's not just about you showing up and talking about me, 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 me. You need to be talking to your client. That's why the target client work is so important because you want that person to feel something. Your marketing really needs to be all about them. So if you're just talking about yourself constantly or on your website or whatever, that's a big issue here. Take yourself out of the equation. This isn't about you, even though it is your business. It's about how your client feels when they experience your brand. How do you want them to feel? What do you want that journey to look like? Have you mapped it out? If you haven't, that needs to be done. The fourth strategy, email still works, you guys, if you use it right. Okay. I'm not talking about just promotions constantly and selling in emails, but weekly emails with value, with behind the scenes, what you know your target client likes to see from you, before and afters, whatever that might be. Those actually work, and not enough of you guys are using emails. I don't care if you have 25 people on your list, email them. Those people are on your list because they either reached out to you for a service, or they signed up for a freebie from you, or they signed into a gallery to see images, and you have a valuable commodity now. You have their email address. Don't take that lightly. You need to nurture these people, okay? The real ones will stick around. You'll get to see who the real ones are by the content you serve them and whether or not they stick around or they unsubscribe. That's the other thing. You cannot get too bent out of shape about the unsubscribes. That's always going to happen. You're always going to say something that offends somebody. Okay. I can't tell you guys how many responses I'll get to my emails sometimes that are just, they make me like cackle because I cannot believe somebody would actually take the time to type some of this stuff out to me. Like, you actually gave me your email for a reason. And I'm giving you some really interesting information. Like, for instance, one of the emails that I sent out to my list of photographers, because I have two lists. I have a photographer list, I have lists for creatives, and so I have three. I also have photography clients, right? So, like, two photographers, I sent an email about AI, about ChatGPT, because y'all know I love me some ChatGPT and AI in general. And somebody just kind of let me have it about how AI is the devil. That's cool. You don't need to like it. You don't need to use it. And you don't need to subscribe if you don't want to hear what I have to say. That's totally fine. I want the people on my list to be engaged. I want the people on my list to be my people. Like, I'm building a community here. I'm not trying to like suck in like every single person on the planet, right? Like, I want my people to be here. So I want you guys to approach your email list like this, okay? Nurture it, foster it. Think of it as your little community that you're building. These are your people. What do you want to tell them? What do you want to share with them? Okay, the wins, the good, the bad. And then, yeah, when you are running a promo or when you are running a session, but it's not even about the calls to action. It's about the connection, because you popping in to their inbox once a week consistently lets them know, hey, you're in business. Okay. So even if they're not looking for one of your services, somebody that they know might be, and you're top of mind now because you're in their inbox. Social media is that endless scroll. You can't rely on showing up on someone's feed. Even if you're running ads, you can't really rely on that because the targeting has gotten very hard with ads. But people have asked to be on your email list because they liked something about you. And now you get to foster that relationship and get to know them better. It's kind of amazing. And you can keep this simple. You don't need a system. You don't need to buy a platform like Flowdesk, which is what I use. I think it's a great value and I think it's amazing. But like use what you have if that's what all you can do right now. Okay. Eventually, when you do build up a bigger list and you want to start automating some things, you probably will need to look into investing in a platform. But like Flowdesk in particular is very affordable. It's easy and you can do some very robust things with it. I'll post in the show notes a link to a blog that I did all about this and the link to sign up for a free trial for Flowdesk if you're interested. The idea, though, is that you want to be sending your list content that you know is going to be valuable for them. Okay. What do they want to hear about? What would be really interesting and different? Not the same old, these are the 5 dresses that I recommend that you wear for your summer session. Okay. Think out of the box. A little side tip, a great way to get ideas for these is to go into TikTok. So if you go into TikTok and you press the little search icon and you just start typing in whatever the first word is. So like if you're a senior photographer, you can type in senior portrait and then see what autofills and then see what those videos are. You do need to filter it for like the most recent ones. So I suggest at least within the last like 1 to 3 months, you'll start to see what high school seniors are actually searching for there. Okay. And then when you go under there, you'll see a lot of different videos. And then you'll see people are also searching for this, kind of like on Google. Those are really great topics and keywords. And yes, I do suggest using AI and ChatGPT for this. I have something called Content Fuel that can help you with that. I'll link it below in the show notes. It's basically a massive amount of prompts for ChatGPT and ways to use them more efficiently. Plus, you also get access to my own custom GPT for high school senior photographers in there. It's literally built from all of my coaching and all of my marketing education. That's built into Content Fuel as well. And the last strategy that we're going to cover today is a strong offer with urgency and clarity. So we're going to talk a little bit about some sales techniques. Okay. Book now is not really a compelling CTA. What's going to make somebody actually want to book with you? Okay. Fall sessions are 80% booked. Here's how to grab one of the last 3 spots. That's a little more specific. That creates a little bit more friction. I'm not telling you to lie. I'm not telling you to like go out there and be super weird and salesy, but you do need to make your offers clear and timely and easy. You got to make it easy. Okay. Like don't make your clients jump through a whole bunch of hoops. Nobody wants to do that. And this brings up a very hot topic to call or not to call, right? So there's that camp of photography educators that will tell you that you need to get on a phone call with somebody immediately. Don't have pricing listed on your website, just have a form. As soon as they fill out the form, you call them. Then you sell them into the program. You sell them into one of your sessions. Is that effective? Hell yeah, it's very effective. Is it something that every photographer wants to do? Absolutely not. I'm one of those. Okay. I have been running a very successful 6-figure profitable photography business for a long time. And I don't want to get on a phone call unless I absolutely have to. And I will. There's always the option to get a call with me. But I have set up my lead process so that I basically hold their hand digitally. I get their questions answered. They know exactly what to expect without me having to sell them into it and without me having to be on a phone call with them to do it. Okay. So for me, and this is just me, don't come for me. But if I'm online looking for any service and I have to jump through like 12 different things to just get you to respond to me, I'm not going to want to book you. I don't care how good your work is. And if I have to wait for a phone call from you before I book you, that's a no for me. I'm ready when I'm ready. I want to be able to get the information I need fairly quickly. That's why I suggest having automations built in with your CRM so that when the form is filled, because no, I don't think you should be putting full pricing on your website. That's not what I'm saying here. I think that starting points, I think that average spend, all of that is great, but there's other messaging you can build in that is going to let these potential leads know that you are not a $200 photographer that's just going to meet them at a park. Okay. So I'm speaking now mainly to my higher end luxury portrait photographers. What I do and what I teach is a session fee as well as a minimum purchase. Okay. So I'm not like a all in, here's all the digitals kind of thing. And if you're out there doing that, and you are seeing that in actuality that is not a profitable system and that you're super busy and booked, maybe you're even at a higher price point. Maybe you're even, 1200, let's say 12 to $1,500, and they get like 20 or 30 digitals with that. I'm going to challenge you to look at your numbers and realize that you're not making as much as you think because of the time you're spending with each of these clients, including their editing and the session, but also the emails, the phone calls, the walking them through it. Like if you're doing all of these high touch things, like doing consults with them, getting on phone calls, making sure that they're prepared, and you're not making 2000 and up per portrait client, you're probably not making a lot in profit, especially now with how expensive life is. So I encourage you to look at your numbers if you haven't in a while. I know it's scary to jump from just including digitals to selling product, but that is the best way to make higher sales, but also to take better care of your clients, to provide a more luxury experience for them and to set yourself apart in your market. But back to the CGA, urgency and clarity. So, what other sort of language can you be using that is going to get people to actually pull the trigger? And sometimes you have to incentivize them. Sometimes that looks like booking now and you receive this. I'm not a big fan of discounts, but you can absolutely include something really awesome that you can't actually get on your regular price list. What can you include that will give your clients something a little bit more and make them feel more taken care of if they just go ahead and book that by a certain date? This should all be tied to your messaging, which goes back to your why and your purpose. And if you don't have a strong sense of that, I encourage you to dig into it. I have a mini offer called the Clarity Method that you can purchase. It's under $100. It's a video and a workbook, and it walks you through the basics of what I do with my one-on-one clients. So if you can't invest in coaching right now, that's a really great place to start, is the Clarity Method. It will walk you through the basics of what I teach in coaching, and there's a workbook that's going to prompt you to go deeper. Definitely check that out. I'll link it below in the show notes as well. But if you can invest in coaching, that's your best option for really getting this messaging dialed in. Because the truth is that your marketing really isn't broken, okay? But your belief in that offer might be. Okay, you got to sell yourself on yourself before you can sell anything to anyone else. Which leads me to this very last little tidbit that I want to leave you with before we wrap up, which is the shift in your identity. Okay, shift your identity, shift your results. This is the part that most people skip or don't want to deal with, the part where you become the version of you who's already booked out. Because let me tell you what that version of you doesn't do. She doesn't scroll other photographers all day. She doesn't change her prices every week and flip flop between what someone else is doing because they seem to have it together. Because unless you see the underside of somebody's business, you don't really know what's going on and you don't really know how much money they're making. It can seem like they're doing great and they're booked constantly, but how much money are they actually making? Are they just charging a low price like I was just talking about? Are they running themselves into the ground? Are they editing all their own images and spending like 8 hours per session editing? Side note, if you're doing that, please audit your time as well, because that is a huge reason why you're going to burn out and also not be profitable. That version of you, though, also does not blame the algorithm or the economy or wait until things are perfect. What she does do is she leads. She shows up even when she's scared, and she makes decisions from where she's going, not where she's been, and not where she feels stuck. You got this, okay? You didn't start this business because you thought it would be easy, most likely. You probably had a pretty good indicator that this was going to be, a decent amount of work to build, but it doesn't mean it can't be fun. You can ask my group Elevate. Like, I'm always saying, if it's not fun, I don't want to do it. So part of being a photography business owner is really digging into what it is that lights you up. Because if it doesn't feel good, you're not going to want to do it. You might be able to do it short term, but you're not going to do it long term. And rewiring those beliefs, stop working from your past, tune out the noise around you, and stay focused on your goals. Okay. Where you want to go. Now, you do need to know where you want to go. So, if you haven't done that work either, I do suggest the clarity method. I'll link it below. Again, like I said, it's a little mini course. It's not as much of a deep dive as a one on one container would be with me in coaching, but it will get you started and it will give you a kick in the pants. I also have Calibrate, which is my private podcast, which is all mindset, all hypnosis, all activations. It is up to you daily to decide where you want your energy to go. It is up to you to be in the driver's seat with your conscious thinking brain and not allow your unconscious mind to drive the car, because your unconscious mind will always pull you back to safety. It will always look at the craziness around you and go, oh my God, this is too scary. We shouldn't be doing this. Get back inside. It's safe inside. And I know it's tempting to listen to that. And I know some days you're going to let it win, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. What matters is that you open the door again and come back outside, that you don't let it keep you down. Your unconscious mind really does want the best for you, but it just thinks that keeping you safe is the best idea. And as you know, there's no growth in safety. So if you're ready to shift out of stuck and into CEO energy, there's a seat waiting for you in Elevate or in one on one. I'm signing up my next 6 months of Elevate right now. We start in July, we go through December. It's only for female photographers who have been in business for a minute. I'll post the link below. You can get all the details and all the testimonials. It's a pretty amazing and very special program that I'm super proud of. It is a group membership. It's more like a mastermind, but it's a little bit different than either of those things. And what makes it so amazing is the group of women who keep re-enrolling every semester. I've worked with a lot of them for years now, and I adore them. So not only will you get coaching from me, you're going to get a really awesome group of women who are going to support you and bring you into our fold. So if you're looking for community and support, accountability, marketing help, and mindset, check out Elevate. The link is below. And if you want something more individualized or focused, you can look into one-on-one coaching. That link is below too. All right. I know it's really scary out there right now. Trust me. And I know what it feels like to question if this is all going to work out. Listen, a lot of y'all know that I am married to an actor, writer, filmmaker. Things are not good in that industry right now. My husband is literally trying to do whatever he can to make whatever he can. But we lost our health insurance this past year. For the first time in over 30 years, my husband did not make earnings for the Screen Actors Guild insurance, which is one of the best insurance plans like in the world, I'm convinced. So we were very spoiled, but it was also one of the reasons why we were still able to live in California, because we didn't have to pay ridiculous amounts of money for really good health care. And now we do. So on top of him not bringing money in, we now have to pay for health care. That is not as good by any stretch of the imagination. And although it's most likely temporary, at least I hope so, it is what it is. So I got to make this work. There have been a lot of days in the last, I would say, year and a half, even though my businesses, both of them, are successful, bring in money, keep us going. There's been a lot of days where I've literally been sitting on the floor of my office in a panic. The good thing is that I can get myself out of that so much faster than I used to be able to. I've had anxiety my whole life and panic attacks since I was in my early 20s. And for years, I didn't have panic attacks. Years, even with menopause. I had it under control. And then last summer, they started again. And it was very, very much tied to this whole thing, all this situation with, the economy changing, my husband not working, me being the breadwinner, having to do all the things, but I am well resourced. I have so many more resources than I used to, even 5 years ago, but especially like 20 years ago. Like, I have so many more resources, and so do you. I would encourage you to look into how many resources you do really have, because at the top of your head, you might not think you do, but I want you to look into it, and I want you to realize that you are further along than you were even last week. And the fact that you're listening to a podcast like this tells me you do want more for your life. You do want more for your business. So you got this. You can do this. Okay. We can do this. I'm saying it just as much for myself as I am for you. Keep your eye on the prize, guys. You've got clients out there who are just dying to find you. You have to be findable. And there is a very easy way to do that. You just tend to overcomplicate things. Okay. So you got to stop looking around for permission, and you got to start building your own momentum. You don't need a bigger audience, but you probably do need a more clear message and a stronger belief in your gifts. I believe in you, but more importantly, you've got to believe in you. So if you're listening to all this today and you're thinking, okay, I really need this energy in my corner every week, you're probably ready for what I offer in coaching. Those links are below, both for Elevate and for one-on-one. But either way, I want you to do one thing today to move forward. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're not too old. You're not too young. You're not invisible. You're just one powerful shift away from the breakthrough that you've been waiting for. Let me know how you felt about this episode over on Instagram at Renee Bowen. I'd love to chat with you as always. And if you feel like this was helpful, send it to a friend or share it on Instagram and tag me. I love that. Be good to yourself. Okay. Love you. Bye.